Ramavandar Vikagiri Shishi Radha Vinay Hari Juki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Juki Jai Nityalila Vishnu Vishnupara Shukarishita Shishimar Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura Nityalila Vishnu Vishnupara Shukarishita Shishimar Bhaktivedānta Bhaktivedānta Vāman Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai Nityalila Vishnu Vishnupara Ashukarishita Shishimar Śrī Bhaktivedānta Swāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupāda ki Jai Nityalila Vishnu Vishnupara Shukarishita Shishimar Bhaktivedānta Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai Nityalila Vishnu Vishnupara Shukarishita Shishimar Bhaktivedānta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupāda ki Jai Nityalila Vishnu Mahābhagavat Śrīla Babaji Mahārāja ki Jai Nityalila Vishnu Śrī Sajjana-toṣaṇī Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki Jai Nityalila Vishnu Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Babaji Mahārāja ki Jai Śrī Rūpa Guru Guru Varga ki Jai Śrī Rūpa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Śrī Jeev Gopal Bhattadasa Raghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu ki Jai Śrī Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Śrī Gaur Parashad Vrinda ki Jai Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Ṭhākura ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Shri Kshetra Mandala Pura Mandala Braja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Sarva Avishta Vidakta Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki Jai Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai Jai Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī's Upadeśāmṛta ki Jai Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura's 12 articles on verses 2 and 3 of Upadeśāmṛta ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranams Hana Haladar Prabhu Prajumna Prabhu Mantra Murti Mataji and anybody else who is watching in the future. I think people are used to me. Oh, Hari Bol, Nari Hari Prabhu and Bhavatarani Mataji Dandavat Pranams. All right, so we are continuing on with our daily reading, our daily morning program. We are going through the articles of Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, 12 articles, 6 articles on the things that that impede bhakti, that destroy bhakti, and 6 articles on the topic of things that nourish bhakti, the virtues of a sadhak. And so yesterday we went through a very nice article, very inspiring article on enthusiasm, utsaha. And today we will be reading about Niścaya. That means having, how do they explain it here? Having firm resolve, firm resolve. So this is the second item on the, on that third verse of Upadeśāmṛta, utsahan niścayad. And then tomorrow we'll read about Nārāyaṇa. So let's begin. Today's article is going to be Hare Krishna Nitai Mukeshji. Today's article is going to be, it's 3 times longer than the one that we read yesterday, but we'll still get through it in an hour. I just won't talk so much. All right, let's begin. Actually, I'm just Dashmula. Yeah, look at this. We have a special chart. Dashmula. Okay, in today's article, it's going to be going very deep into Dashmula. And we have a special chart that my friends at Chandrasekhar Prabhu made for Dashmas so that we can get a good overview. We'll look at that. We'll look at this more carefully in a minute. All right. So, to firm resolve. Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki jai. The determined and the doubtful. Let me just make sure the mic is plugged in. Oh, it's not plugged in. There. Now the sound should be better. Haribol, Haribol. Okay. The determined and the doubtful. In Śrī Upadeśāmṛta, Śrī Rūpa Gosvāmī has instructed bhakti sadhaks to be determined. As long as a person lacks determination, he remains doubtful. A doubtful person can never attain auspiciousness. How can faith and bhakti arise in the presence of doubt? Right, the opposite of faith is doubt. So in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4 verse 40, it is mentioned, Agyascha shraddhadanascha Saṅśayātmā vinashyati Nārayaṇa lokostina paro na sukhang saṅśayātmanam. Those who are ignorant, faithless, and who have a doubting nature are ruined. A skeptic cannot achieve his well-being in this world or the next, nor can he even achieve happiness. A doubtful person who is faithless and devoid of knowledge of his relationship with Krishna, Sambandha Gyan, is lost. For such a doubtful person, there is neither happiness nor peace in this world or the next. Those who possess Shraddha are already free from any doubts, because the very meaning of the word Shraddha is firm faith. As long as one has doubt in one's mind, firm faith cannot arise. Hence, a faithful person is always free from any doubts. I was actually just talking to a boy yesterday, a good friend of mine, and he says that he has all sorts of doubts about like how, just how many things in our scriptures don't seem to be so aligned with science. And that's a whole topic. I mean, my friend Shrivas, Rup Kishore, Jai Gopal, especially Nami Maharaj, he's like way more they are scientists. I mean, well, Shrivas isn't a scientist, but I'm saying they have been able to see, like, if you look into it more deeply, many so many things do tie in with science. But whatever, that's aside. That's a different topic. But so this friend of mine, he was thinking like, am I just, he was like worried that, if I have these doubts, does that mean I'm just like hopeless? But this is just what I told him. This is just the other day. And this is just my thoughts. I don't know what's right or wrong, but I think it's totally fine to have doubts if your mood is not like it's sincere and you don't have the you're not thinking like, oh, what's like if you don't have an antagonistic outlook and trying to like tear it all down and like having like that kind of mood, but you're like, this just doesn't make sense, this doesn't add up to me, and but you have a mood of humility, and you understand ultimately that any matters to do with this world can be comprehended, but matters to do with the transcendental world, the only way they can be understood is through when it's imparted into us. It's by mercy. There's no way to understand a transcendental subject matter by your own effort, by your brain, even by reading or studying. No, it's only through mercy. We read and we study, but we have to do it with a certain mood, like with that mood of humility and a mood of prayer. So if there's any doubts, that's not anything to get too worried about. We just have to make sure that our approach is appropriate, and then everything's auspicious. And if we have a doubt, then don't get freaked out about it. Don't worry. Like and don't be ashamed of it. You can be completely freely ask to somebody who's senior. You can also pray and yeah, like that. Anyhow, sorry. Haribol Kishore Prabhu. Okay. So the 10 ontological truths, Dash Mula Tattva. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has ordered the entire Vaishnava community to know 3 tattvas, 3 established truths. And why is he talking about this? Because if we have, this is how we have, like, you can't come to the stage of Niścaya, of having firm resolve, until we understand clearly the essential tattva. And so this is our entire philosophy right now. What we're going through, this whole reading today, is our entire philosophy in a nutshell. The entire teachings of Mahaprabhu, all condensed into 10 simple points. 10 very clear points. And it's divided into 3 parts, 3 tattvas. There's one's relationship with Bhagavan, Sambandha. 2, the means to attain one's goal, Abhideya. And 3, the ultimate goal of one's sadhana and bhajan, that's the prayojan. Dashmula, the 10 basic philosophical principles, is comprised of these 3 tattvas. And my friends Chandrasekhar made a chart here so that you can see. First is praman, what we accept as evidence. And then here are, the first is praman, this is the evidence. And then the rest is prameya, that means what is proved by that evidence. What the praman is proving. Evidence and the prameya, okay? Then, and so these are all divided into Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. From 2 to 8 of Dashmula, of the points of Dashmula, this all has to do with Sambandha. And the first 3 have to do with Sambandha related to Hari, like having, understanding the basic principles of Bhagavan, of the Lord. And the next 3 are related to the Jiva, so that we can understand ourselves. And then number 8 is how these both relate together, the Jiva and Bhagavan. So this is all Sambandha. Then Abhideya, that is the process, the means to achieve the goal. And then Prayojana, the goal itself. That's how Dashmula Tattva is organized. All right, so let's go through this now. So now it's going to explain the first one, Praman. Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra are real evidence. Let's see. The first basic principle is that the Vedic Shastras are the only evidence. They are the only Praman. To describe Prayojan Tattva, it is essential to first know the Praman, the evidence. There are 9 prameyas, subjects that such evidence proves. Right, see here the 9 prameyas. These are all the things that are proved. All the rest of Dashmula Tattva is proved by the praman. Evidence is essential in order to establish all these prameyas also. Different kinds of evidence have been presented in different scriptures. Some scriptures consider direct sense perception, pratyaksha, inference, anuman, comparison, upaman, and so on to be praman, while other scriptures consider various other methods to also be included as praman. I think in science, right, they accept direct sense perception and inference. Comparison, I don't know about that comparison, but yeah, that's like in modern science, right? That's the only kind of praman that they accept. The praman presented by Sriman Mahaprabhu, which is obtained by receiving the message of the Vedas through disciplic succession, amnai, is that praman which is self-realized, and it is known as the principal praman. Other types of praman are considered secondary. Only this principal praman is worthy of acceptance. And the other types of praman, direct sense perception, inference, comparison, all these pramans are helpful. It's not that we reject all other types of praman, but they are secondary, and and they should follow in line. They should help us with the principal praman, which is the message of the Vedas through disciplic succession, amnai. Amnaya refers to the transcendental words of the pure Sadguru, of sadhu, pure sadhu, not just any saintly person, but only the pure Mahabhagavat sadhu and Shastra. Their words are praman for us. That's called Amnaya, the message of the Vedas through disciplic succession. Okay. Conceivable and inconceivable conceptions. Haribo, Krishnamaya Didi, and Anadi Krishna Prabhu, and Vidyalalasa Didi. Haribo. Okay, so conceivable and inconceivable conceptions. All the different kinds of conceptions, the bhavs in this world, can be divided into two types. There's the conceivable, chintya, conceivable conceptions, and inconceivable, achintya. Worldly conceptions are those that appear of their own accord in the thought process of a human being, are called conceivable conceptions. They're chintya bhav. Transcendental conceptions that are beyond the capacity of ordinary human perception are called inconceivable conceptions, achintya bhav. Without attaining complete fixed realization of the self, atma samadhi, one cannot understand inconceivable conceptions. Therefore, in transcendental matters, there is no place for those pramans headed by pratyaksha that are based on logic. And now here's a verse from Mahabharata Udyog Parva. Achintya kaluye bhava na tangstarkena yojayet prakriti-bhya parang yachcha tar achintyasya lakshanam. All transcendental tattvas are beyond material nature and are therefore inconceivable. Dry argument is within the jurisdiction of material nature, so it can be utilized only in relation to mundane subject matters. It cannot even come close to transcendental tattvas, not to speak of grasping them. As far as inconceivable conceptions are concerned, the application of dry argument is undesirable and useless. That's why it's so ridiculous when there are these debates on inconceivable conceptions. Dry argument is undesirable and useless when people are just trying to figure it out with their brain. There can be discussion, but these debates, I don't know. The tattvas that are beyond the 24 material elements are replete with inconceivable conceptions. Evidence based on direct sense perception, inference, and so on cannot enter such spiritual conceptions. The only way to comprehend them is by self-realization, Atma Samadhi. But Atma Samadhi is unattainable for ordinary people. Due to this unfortunate situation of the living entities, the most merciful Supreme Lord has thus manifested the Vedic Shastras. Sriman Mahaprabhu has said, let me just Maya mugda jiver nahi Krishna smriti gyan jivere kripai koila Krishna ver puran. That's from the Madhya Lila, chapter 20, verse 122. Living entities, bewildered by Maya, become oblivious to remembrance of Krishna. So Krishna has mercifully manifested the Vedas and Purans for them. Veda Shastra. Oh, whoops. Sorry. Veda Shastra kohe sambandha abhideya prayojan Krishna prapya sambandha bhakti prapyer sadhan abhideya nam bhakti prema prayojan purushartha shiromane prema mahadhan. It's the same chapter, verses 124 to 125. So Krishna prapya is the sambandha, bhakti prapya sadhan, abhideyanam bhakti prem prayojan. Okay. The Vedic scriptures describe three principles: sambandha, abhideya, and prayojan. Krishna is the object of relationship of sambandha, and bhakti is the means to attain him. It's the abhideya. The ultimate objective, the prayojan, is prem, the crown jewel of life's objectives and the greatest wealth. The Vedas are to be accepted as the only praman through which one can comprehend inconceivable conceptions. But there's one thing to consider. The word amnaya indicates the Vedas received through the bona fide disciplic succession. There are various kinds of instructions in the Vedas for different kinds of people according to their qualification. Among all types of qualification, the qualification for bhakti is the highest. By the effect of their bhajan, our previous Mahārājas, through means of self-realization, selectively collected Vedic teachings on the qualification to perform bhakti and kept them separate. Therefore, it is essential to learn and follow the Vedic instructions that the previous Mahārājas have illuminated and declared beneficial to attain the qualification to perform bhakti. So we don't try to learn and follow all the Vedic instructions, only those that the previous Mahārājas have illuminated and declared beneficial to attain the qualification to perform bhakti. Only by the mercy of Sri Gurudev is it possible to enter the realm of inconceivable conceptions. This is important. Only by the mercy of Sri Gurudev is it possible to enter the realm of inconceivable conceptions. It is otherwise not only difficult, but quite impossible. Sriman Mahaprabhu has clarified this topic through the following parable. Haribol Chatamai Mataji. Okay, so this Mahaprabhu's giving a parable. One day, an expert astrologer came to the house of a poor man and asked, "Why are you so unhappy, brother? A great deal of ancestral wealth has been hidden in your house. Your father suddenly died in a foreign place and had never even informed you about that wealth. You can find that hidden wealth and live life happily." Falling at the feet of the omniscient astrologer, the poor man replied, "If you are merciful, you will let me know where it is hidden. I know about this wealth, but am unaware of its location. Although I have greatly endeavored to find it, I have always been unsuccessful. You would be doing me a huge favor by kindly letting me know where it is located." The astrologer was merciful. Pacifying the poor man, he replied, Do not worry about anything, but you must do exactly as I say. There is a huge beehive just south of your house. Do not try to dig there, even by mistake, or else the bees will create massive havoc and you will not receive any wealth. If you dig in the western direction, a ghost who stays there will create obstacles. If you dig in the north, a huge python will emerge and swallow you whole. But if you dig just a little bit to the east, you will certainly attain the wealth you so desire. Following the instruction of the omniscient astrologer, the poor man dug a little earth in the eastern direction and attained his hidden ancestral treasure, thus becoming quite wealthy. In this analogy, the all-knowing astrologer is the scriptures, and the poor man is the conditioned soul. The scriptures explain to the ignorant conditioned jivas about Sri Krishna, the greatest and the original treasure, and they give the method to achieve him. They declare, do not, do not follow the paths of karma, jnana, yoga, and so on, through which one will attain only misery and through which Krishna can never be attained. Krishna is controlled only through bhakti, which is the only means to reach him. Perform Krishna bhajan with faith, and you will definitely attain him. When a spiritually inquisitive sadhak anxiously hears from his Gurudev about the principles of Atma Tattva, the truth of the soul, then his consciousness gradually becomes spotless and is led towards Sri Krishna's lotus feet. The scriptures attained through the Guru Parampara, Amnaya, are the only evidence, the only praman regarding the ultimate goal of life. In accordance with this evidence, 9 types of fundamental truths have been described. Based on Amnaya, an understanding of prameya, or that which is proven by the evidence, manifests in the pure consciousness. This is known as self-realization and is the principal foundation for the ultimate goal of life. Okay, so that was a beautiful introduction to the Dashmula Tattva. Now, the first thing that is proved, the first through Praman. This is the first Prameya. Shri Krishna is Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Oh, and some devotees joined a bit later. I just want to show you this chart that my friend Chandrasekhar made. So this is the first, this is the, like, this is the overview verse of Dashmula Tattva, written by Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura. It's in the same meter as Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam, like that. Amnaya Praha Tatam Harimi. Should we recite it? Let's recite it. Yeah. Okay. Amnaya, sorry. Amnaya Prahatatvam Harimiha Paramam Sarva Shakting Rasabdin Tadbhinasangscha Jivan Prakriti Kavalitan Tarvimuktangscha Bhavad Bheda Bheda Prakasham Sakalamapi Hare Sadhanam Shuddha Bhaktim Sadhyang Tat Pritimevet Upadishati Janan Gaura Chandra Swayang Sa. My Gurudev used to say, anybody who does not know this, I think he said this verse, or at least the Dashmula, he is not my disciple. Be really heavy. But yeah, this is so important. So there's the Praman. That's Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra are the Praman, are the evidence. And then, so that's the thing that's proved. And then the next 9 are the things that are proven by this Praman. They are all Prameyas. And these Prameyas, these things that are proved, the rest of the Dashmula is divided into 3 parts. There's Sambandha, our relationship with Bhagavan. There's the Abhideya, the means to achieve the goal, and the Prayojan, the goal. And so Sambandha is divided into two parts. The first three are related to Sri Hari. The next three are related to the Jiva. And then the next one, number 8, is our relationship with Bhagavan, like how, that we are both, it's Achinta Bheda Bheda Tattva. Everything in existence is a manifestation inconceivably both one and different from Sri Hari. So that's, once we understand these, 7 principles, then we've understood Sambandha Tattva. So now we're going to go through the first 3, which are all related to Sri Hari. 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so first Prameya. Shri Krishna is Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Through the revealed scriptures, we first learn that the supreme transcendental entity, Sri Hari, is the only worshipful object for all jivas. It is the effulgence of the toenails of that Sri Hari that the Brahmavadis, through their impersonal meditation, perceive as the impersonal Brahma. That very same Hari, through his minute expansion as Paramatma, or in the form of Ishwar, carries out the activities of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. That Hari is Krishna himself. Paramatma is Vishnu, and his effulgence is Brahma. All doubts about about the supreme transcendental entity are resolved through contemplating the ontological truth of the all-powerful Sri Hari. As long as such doubts prevail in the heart of the sadhak, he will adopt a mood of impersonalism, which is the opposite of material knowledge, and pursue the attainment of the impersonal Brahma. Then to attain Paramatma, who is a minute expansion of Bhagavan, he imagines Ashtanga Yoga and other yogic processes to be the appropriate path. After becoming free from all these doubts, firm one-pointed bhakti for Krishna arises. Now, the second thing that is proved, the second prameya. So first is that Sri Hari is the supreme absolute truth. He is the Paramatattva. Next is Sri Hari is fully endowed with all potency. Sarva Shaktiman. One second, let me just make sure. Okay. Anyhow. Okay. So, second prameya, Sri Hari is full of inconceivable potency. Sarva Shaktiman. On the basis of the authentic Shastras, the second prameya is that Para Brahma Sri Hari is naturally full of inconceivable potencies, Achintya Shakti. By compelling one of his potencies, known as Nirvishesha Shakti, he appears as Brahma to the living entities whose knowledge is undeveloped. Then, by compelling his unlimited potencies, known as Savishesha Shakti, Sri Hari manifests his Bhagavata, his godhood, which includes Brahma and Paramatma. Although Nirvishesh Shakti, that's the potency that is devoid of variety, and Savishesh Shakti, the potency that is replete with variety, although they are eternally present within him, it is apparent that Savishesh Shakti is more prominent. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate Swabhaviki Jnana Balakriya Cha. That's from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6-7. One hears that Parabrahma has different potencies like Gyan, like knowledge, Bala power, and Kriya, action. Gyan, Bala, Kriya, knowledge, power, and action. This transcendental potency is of 3 types, namely existence, Sandhini, cognizance, Samvit, and bliss, Ladini. These 3 potencies are easily comprehended by the devotees. I remember hearing before, anybody can correct me if I'm if I got it wrong, but realization of Brahman is just the Sandhini aspect. It's just existence. But there's no cognizance, there's no knowledge of the relationship or anything. It's just, Brahma is just Sandhini. And then realization of Paramatma is Sandhini and Samvit. So, there's existence and there's cognizance. You see there's Paramatma. But then realization of Bhagavan has all three. There's existence, there's cognizance, and knowledge of the relationship with Bhagavan, and bliss, Ladini. So these three potencies are easily comprehended by the devotees. Now the third prameya, third thing that's proven. Shri Krishna is Krishna's very form. No, Krishna is the very form of ras. I think there's supposed to be a the there. Shri Krishna is the very form of ras. Let's just look at this again. So, Shri Hari is the supreme absolute truth. Shri Hari is fully endowed with all potency. And now, Shri Hari is an ocean of ras. So it's the Paramatattva, Sarva Shaktiman, and Rasa Sindhu. Let's see. Amnaya says that the highest aspect of the absolute truth, Parabrahma Shri Krishna, is the topmost transcendental ras. Shri Krishna's intrinsic form, his Swarup, is ras, due to which both the material and transcendental worlds become intoxicated. Therefore, Shri Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita, I am the origin of the impersonal aspect of the absolute truth, Brahma. By the effect of this topmost transcendental ras, there is unlimited variegation in both the spiritual and material worlds. The ras found in the spiritual world is pure, and the ras found in this material world is but a reflection of that. It is not pure ras. By the influence of Bhagavan's inconceivable potency, the transcendental pastimes of Vraj, Shri Vrajalila, appear in this material world, wherein the unlimited rasas of the spiritual world are present. Every living entity is eligible to obtain this topmost ras, and it is the dharma of the living entity who attains it on the strength of bhajan. The act of striving to attain Brahma is devoid of ras, and therefore not really desirable. In Paramatma Yoga, also, there's no such thing as ras. Only Shri Krishna is the intrinsic form of ras. He is the rasa sarup, and only bhajan of him is full of ras. Only bhajan of Krishna is full of ras, because he is the intrinsic form of ras. He is the rasa sarup. Okay, so those were the first three parts of Sambandha Tattva related to Hari. Now we're going to go through the next three, 5, 6, and 7, which are all related to the jiva. Let's just get an overview. So first is the jivas are Shri Hari's parts and parcels. Then the conditioned souls are captured by Maya, and the liberated souls are free from Maya. So now 5. The jivas are Shri Hari's parts and parcels. Vibhinangsha. Doesn't vibhinna means separated, and angsha means parts. So they are the separated parts of Bhagavan. Okay, so fourth prameya, jiva tattva, the living entity's independence and intrinsic nature. Oh, Haribo Ganga Mataji. Oh, wait, and I think somebody else joins. Let me see who's there. I think I already saw Chatamaya Mataji, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, so the fourth prameya, jiva tattva, the living entity's independence and intrinsic nature. Amnaya says that the living entities are minute rays coming from Shri Krishna, the transcendental sun. Krishna is the transcendental sun, and the living entities are just the minute rays coming from that transcendental sun, Shri Krishna. The jivas, they are unlimited in number. Just as the transcendental world manifests from Sri Krishna's internal transcendental potency, from his Chit Shakti, and the material world manifests from his external, his Apara or inferior potency, Maya Shakti, the living entities similarly manifest from a part of his internal transcendental potency, which is beyond the material potency. Those qualities that are present in full in Sri Krishna's eternal nature are also constitutionally present in minute quantities within the minute jivas. An independent nature is present in Sri Krishna to the fullest extent, and a particle of the same independent nature is observed to be eternally present in the living entity. Because of this independence, the jivas have various types of tendencies. Through one tendency, the jiva searches for his own happiness, and through another tendency, he inquires about how to please Krishna. As a result of these different tendencies, the jivas are of two types. Those who pursue self-pleasure, and those who inquire about how to please Krishna. Those who pursue self-pleasure are eternally bound by Maya. They are nitya baddha. And those who inquire about how to please Krishna are eternally liberated. They are nitya mukta. In the transcendental world, time exists as the eternal present, whereas it appears as past, present, and future in the material world. Transcendental world, there's eternal present, and in the material world, there's past, present, future. Okay, so inconceivable, transcendental conceptions are subordinate to spiritual time, to chitkala. Under the spiritual energy, time exists solely in the form of the eternal present. Under the inferior material energy, time exists in three forms. There's past, present, and future. If a person considers all aspects of this subject from the perspective of spiritual time, then he will no longer have any doubt. But if someone considers them from the perspective of material time, where there's past, present, and future, then many doubts will arise within him, such as, why does the jiva seek self-pleasure if he is a particle of pure spirit? Bhajan becomes possible only after giving up such doubts. Utilizing logic and argument in relation to inconceivable conceptions only gives rise to anarthas, impediments on the path of bhajan. Okay, so that was the jivas are Sri Hari's parts and parcels. Now, the conditioned souls are captured by Maya. It's number 6. All right, the fifth thing that's proved. Number 6 of Dashmuda. Okay. There are two kinds of jivas, bound and liberated. Huh, that's interesting. I thought this seems to, like in this title, it has both. It has 6 and 7. And anyhow, let's see. There are two kinds of jivas, bound and liberated. The jivas who seek their own happiness accept Maya, which is situated very close to them, and experience happiness and distress in the realm of material time. Due to his misfortune, the jiva becomes entangled in Maya and suffers in the material world by means of his gross and subtle bodies. Karma, that's action performed in this world, is nothing but an entanglement. There is no limit to this entanglement. However, just as the jiva becomes easily entangled in Maya, he can also be very easily liberated from it. Those who have not come in contact with Maya have no connection to karma. Now, the 6th prameya. As a result of the association of devotees, the eternally bound living entity attains liberation. Interesting. So it's a bit different than we see it here. How is it in the verse? Tad vimuktangs chabhavat. Tad vimuktangs? Wait. Tad bina sangsangs chajivan. Huh. Prakriti kavalitan. Tad vimuktangs chabhavat. Huh. Anyhow. Okay. So it seems, I think this might be a little bit wrong then. Or I don't know. We have to look at it more carefully. But the fifth one is there are two kinds of jivas, bound and liberated. And then the sixth one is how the eternally bound living entity attains liberation. So living entities, this is the sixth prameya. Living entities who are entangled in the deluding material energy in Maya are called nitya baddha, eternally bound. Here the word nitya is used in relation to material time. The living entities coming in contact with a spiritual object, chidvastu, gives rise to his experience of spiritual time, chitkal, and he realizes that his conditioned nature is temporary. By the mercy of saintly persons, and by the influence of spiritual merits that lead one to the path of bhakti, bhakti unmukhi sukriti, accumulated over the course of many lifetimes, the conditioned soul attains liberation from Maya. Bhavapavargo brahmato yad bhavad yada bhavaj janasya tarya chuta sat samagama satsangamo yarhi tadaiva sargato paravareshe tvaijayate rati. This is Śrīmad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 51, verse 53. O Shri Achyuta, you are eternally situated in your original spiritual form. The living entity has been wandering in the cycle of birth and death since time without beginning. When the time for his release from this cycle approaches, he obtains the association of sadhus, and through this, he becomes firmly attached to you, who are the saint's supreme goal and the controller of both spirit and matter. Through the association of sadhus, material miseries are removed, and one attains firm faith in the mercy of Sri Krishna. At that time, by the effect of bhajan and by the mercy of Bhagavan, the jiva pierces the entanglement of the deluding energy. He then attains service to Sri Krishna and residence on the same planet as him, in the association of the eternally liberated living entities, the Nitya Mukta Jivas. Now, the seventh prameya. Okay, so now we went through the three topics related to Shri Hari and the three topics related to the Jiva. Now we're on number 8 of Dashmula. Everything in existence is a manifestation both one and different from Shri Hari. Inconceivably both one and different from Shri Hari. Achinta Bheda Bheda Prakash. So the seventh prameya, a relationship of inconceivable, simultaneous oneness and difference. Krishna and that which is not related to him have a mutual relationship of inconceivable simultaneous oneness and difference. Achintya bhed abhed sambandha. This is why the Vedas mention statements supporting oneness in some places and difference in other places. Siddhanta, philosophical conclusion, is of two types. That which is related to the absolute truth, tatvik siddhanta, and that which is not. It's atatvik siddhanta. It's not related to the absolute truth. Conclusions that are not related to the absolute truth comprise only a small portion of the entire Vedas. Conclusions that are related to the absolute truth comprise the teachings of the revealed scriptures received through the disciplic succession, Amnaya, which describes Sri Krishna as the non-dual truth and all-pervading. Only Sri Krishna is the absolute truth and possesses all energies. Those are the first two prameyas, right? Krishna is the Paramatattva and Sarva Shaktiman. So only Sri Krishna is the Paramatattva and Sarva Shaktiman. Although the living entities and the material world are manifested by his energies, they are all one single substance. And from the perspective of ontological truth, of tattva, they are constitutionally non-different from him. However, from the perspective of potency, of Shakti, everything other than Sri Krishna is a transformation of Shakti and is therefore eternally separate from him. This eternal oneness and difference is naturally inconceivable because the ability to discriminate between such oneness and difference is beyond the capability of the living entity's material intelligence. When, by good fortune, the living entity's spiritual intelligence is awakened, he has realization of pure knowledge, of Shuddha Gyan, which is endowed with inconceivable oneness and difference. Keeping firm faith in the statements of the revealed scriptures, the devotees, by the mercy of Krishna, can clearly perceive the truth of this inconceivable oneness and difference within a short time. If we use material logic or argument to understand this, we will have a theoretical understanding only. Realized knowledge of the above-mentioned 7 proven truths is called Sambandha Gyan. When, through self-realization, knowledge of these 7 prameyas manifests in the heart of a sadhak on the strength of the revealed scriptures, it may be said that he has attained knowledge of his relationship with the absolute truth. He has obtained Sambandha Gyan. In reply to Sri Sanatana Goswami's questions, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu elaborately spoke on the science of Sambandha Gyan. The questions of Sri Sanatana Goswami are 1. Kayami, who am I? 2. How does it go, the verse? Anyways, whatever. I'm just gonna. Why do the threefold miseries always cause me pain? And 3. How can I attain auspiciousness? Do you want to see the verse? Sanatana Goswami asks these 3 questions. It's good to memorize these verses, so I'm just quickly opening it up. Just opening up database. Okay. 1 second. It should be here. I guess I just type in K-Ami, right? K-Ami. Okay. So when Sanatana Goswami submitted to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his first question was, Ke-Ami, who am I? And then the second question is, Kene amai jare tapatrai? That's what it is. Kene amai jare tapatrai. So why do the threefold miseries always cause me pain? And 3, how can I attain auspiciousness? Where is the third one? I want to see what the Bengali is. Anyways, here's the verse. Ke ami kene amai jare tapatrai. Who am I and why do the threefold miseries always give me trouble or pain? Iha nahi jani kemone hitta hoy. Iha nahi jani. If I do not know this, kemone hitta hoy. How will I be benefited? That's what it is. Kemone hitta hoy. How can I attain auspiciousness? Okay, so those who truly want to attain auspiciousness will surely ask these questions to Sri Gurudev. After receiving his divine answers, all one's doubts are eradicated and firm faith in Krishna Bhakti awakens. To consider knowledge of reality, of Tattva Gyan, useless, and to neglect it is improper, because by means of this Tattva Gyan, one's bhakti to Sri Krishna becomes firmly established. Okay, so the essence of the above mentioned single praman, proof, and the seven prameyas, that which is proven. Now consider this. Of the 10 basic principles that comprise Dashmula Tattva, the first 8 principles are in relation to Praman and Sambandha Gyan. The answers that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to the questions of Srila Sanatana Goswami are, from the perspective of Praman and Prameya, extremely astonishing and clear. So, A, Praman. And then there's B, Prameya. So A, Praman, the evidence, and B is Prameya, that which is proven by that evidence. So Praman is the Vedas are the only Praman and the Vedas are the only Praman and categorically provide the conclusions regarding Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. And now the things that are proven by the Praman. It's 7. We just went through them, but here it is again. So the first Prameya. Remember, these first 3 are related to Krishna, and the second 3 are related to the Jiva. And then number 7 is how everything is one and, inconceivably one and different from Krishna. Okay, so 1. Krishna alone is the supreme absolute truth. He is the Parama Tattva. He is Swayam Bhagavan, the original supreme Lord, who has no source other than himself, and the non-dual absolute truth. He is full of all opulences, and his eternal abode is known as Goloka Vrindavan. He manifests as Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan in accordance with 3 kinds of sadhan: Gyan sadhan, Yoga sadhan, and Bhakti sadhan. Now 2. So that's Krishna alone as the supreme absolute truth is 1. And now 2 is Krishna possesses unlimited inconceivable potencies. He is Sarva Shaktiman. Among these unlimited Shaktis, these potencies, the most prominent are Chit Shakti, the spiritual potency, the Jiva Shakti, the marginal potency, and Maya Shakti, the material potency. The spiritual potency, the marginal potency, and the material potency. Okay, now 3. Krishna is the intrinsic form of Ras. Krishna is a Rasa Swarup. Okay, now the 3 that are related to the Jiva. 4. The Jiva is an eternal servant of Krishna and is a separated part of Bhagavan. He is a Vibhinangsha Tattva. The Jiva can be compared to a molecular particle of sunshine or fire. These Vibhinangsha Tattva Jivas are of 2 types. There are the eternally liberated, they are the Nitya Mukta, and eternally bound, the Nitya Baddha. The eternally liberated living entity, being engaged in the eternal service of Krishna, delights in the bliss of divine love, Premananda. And then 5. The bound living entities, due to forgetting Krishna, have become averse to him from time immemorial. Maya makes these averse jivas suffer the miseries of material existence from time immemorial. And then 6 is the liberated living entities are free from Maya. And now 7, the 7th thing that's proved. The jiva is a product of Krishna's marginal potency, the Tatastha Shakti, and has a relationship with Sri Krishna of inconceivable oneness and difference. Okay, so now we've gone through Sambandha, we've gone through Praman and the first 7 Prameyas. Now we're going through, that's all related, that's all Sambandha Tattva. Now we're going through the 8th Prameya, the 8th thing that's proved. This is Abhideya Tattva. That is, Bhakti to Sri Krishna is the sole means to attain him. Oh my God, it's already 8 o'clock. Sorry, I've been going through this a bit slowly. We don't have that much left though. It's only three pages of 17. We've gone through 14 pages already. So only 3 pages left. We'll be finished soon. Okay, so eighth Prameya, bhakti to Sri Krishna is a sole means to attain him, abhideya. Abhideya, or sadhan, spiritual practice, begins when knowledge of one's relationship with Krishna, when sambandha gyan arises. Only bhakti to Sri Krishna is abhideya. The purport is that the topmost duty of the living entities is mentioned in the scriptures and is known as abhideya. Karma, yoga, and gyan are extremely insignificant and inferior sadhans. They cannot bestow any fruit independent of the assistance of bhakti. The practice of bhakti, sadhan bhakti, is called abhideya and is of two types, Vaidhi and Raganuga. Of the 64 limbs of Vaidhi bhakti, 9 are known as Navada bhakti. There's Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. That's from the 7th canto, chapter 5, verse 23. The following 9 processes are accepted as Shuddha bhakti: hearing and chanting about Sri Vishnu's transcendental names, forms, qualities, and so on, remembering them, serving his lotus feet, worshipping him with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to him, becoming a servant, adopting a friendly mood toward him, and surrendering everything unto him. How the devotion, differs from karma, from fruit of acts, and gyan, monistic knowledge. Okay, this is how bhakti differs from karma and gyan. Absorbing one's consciousness in the lotus feet of Sri Krishna through one's body, mind, and words is known as bhakti. What is bhakti? It's absorbing one's consciousness in the lotus feet of Sri Krishna through one's body, mind, and words. Bhakti possesses an extremely subtle distinction from karma and gyan. Many a time, the limbs of bhakti appear completely identical to the limbs of gyan and karma. When these limbs of bhakti are adulterated with desires other than for bhakti, they are known as limbs of karma. And when they are adulterated with dry contemplation on Brahma, they are known as limbs of gyan. And when they are free from gyan and karma and practice only for the purpose of serving Krishna, they are known as limbs of bhakti. An activity that results in self-pleasure is called karma. And an activity that is performed with the aim of attaining Sayujya Mukti, that's merging into either the impersonal Brahma or the form of Bhagavan, is known as Brahma Gyan. Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī has presented the symptoms of bhakti as follows. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma dhanavratam anukulena krishnanu shilanam bhaktiruttama. It's the 11th verse from the beginning of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Translation is, the perpetual endeavor for the sake of Sri Krishna that is free from all kinds of desires other than the desire to serve him, that is not eclipsed by the pursuit of knowledge, fruit of work, and so on, that is truly performed exclusively out of loving affection for him, through all physical, mental, or verbal endeavors, and through all emotions that flow without interruption like an unwavering stream of oil, is called Uttama Bhakti. The characteristics of Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. This is interesting. Okay. So practicing the limbs of bhakti governed by the rules and regulations of the scriptures is known as Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti. And an act of service that is performed under the influence of loving attachment to Krishna is known as Raga Bhakti. The devotion of the Vrajavasis for Krishna is Ragatmika Bhakti. Following the example of the Vrajavasis is Raganuga Bhakti. Vaidhi Bhakti starts from Shraddha, and upon reaching Rati, or the stage of Bhav, it becomes one with Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti is extremely powerful. This is the 9th mool, the foundational truth, and it is the 8th prameya. It is the 8th thing that's proved. And now we come to the last one, and this is the end of it. There's only two. Actually, this is one long paragraph, and then we're finished. Okay, so the 9th prameya, or the 10th mool. Krishna Prem is alone the goal. According to the statements of Amnaya, of Sadhguru and Shastra, the words of the Vedas received through the disciplic succession, Prema alone is the goal, is the prayojan tattva. There are many different stages between sadhan bhakti and the attainment of prema. As a result of spiritual merit, sukriti, accumulated over many lifetimes, faith, shraddha, arises in fortunate conditioned souls. Those faithful jivas then associate with saintly persons, with sadhus. In the association of sadhus, they perform the practices of sadhan bhakti, such as hearing, shravan, and chanting, kirtan. Gradually, by the influence of sadhan, all desires that impede spiritual progress, all one's anarthas, are eradicated, after which shraddha transforms into firm faith, nishta. When nishta is firmly established, it becomes ruchi. That's a taste for practicing the limbs of bhakti. From ruchi comes attachment to the object of such practice. That's asakti. And from asakti, the seed of transcendental affection, priti, appears. When this seed of priti, which is known as rati, thickens, it becomes rapturous divine love. It becomes prem. Prem, indeed, is the ultimate goal of life for each and every living entity. The sadhan bhajan of those who doubt these 10 fundamental teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes meaningless. When doubts arise, bhajan becomes polluted. The jiva whose bhajan becomes polluted is completely ruined. Therefore, those who desire to perform bhajan with purity should do so with firm resolve, with nishchoy. Jai. All right, so that's our reading for today. We're already 8 minutes over time, so I'll just very quickly end. So I'll do a quick Maha Mantra and then we'll end. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Jai Shri Guru Dev Ki Jai, Shri Param Guru Dev Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Swaparshad Ji Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopigan Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Jai Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura's 12 articles on verses 2 and 3 of Rūpa Gosvāmī's Upadeśāmṛta ki Jai, Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī's Upadeśāmṛta ki Jai, Shri Dashamula Shiksha ki Jai, all the teachings of Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Padadevi Sattavatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyaevacha Patitanam Pavane Bhyo Vaishnave Bhyo Namo Namaha. Alright, Dandavat Pranams, Kana Haladar Prabhu, Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Krishna Mai Didi, Anadi Krishna Prabhu, Chatamai Mataji, Prajumna Prabhu, Mantra Murti Mataji, Kishore Prabhu, Vidyalala Sadidi, Ganga Mataji, and everybody else watching. I see there are 7 devotees there on YouTube and Facebook. Dandavat pranams. Thank you so much for joining. Is there anything anybody wants to mention before we end our stream for today? All right. So I'll see you all tomorrow for what's the next? Utsaha Niścaya Dharyat. Having tolerance, patience, dharya, patience. Yeah, that's going to be the topic for tomorrow. I definitely need to hear about that one. So, and yeah, I thought it was interesting how his explanation on firm resolve was all about dashmula. This is the way to have firm resolve, is to become established in the teachings of Mahaprabhu. That will remove all kinds of doubts. When the more we contemplate these 10 fundamental principles. And Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, he gave it so much emphasis. The whole second section of Jaiva Dharma, right? Jaiva Dharma is divided into 3 parts, and the whole middle part, the whole second part, is on Dashmula Tattva. Also, the book that Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura sent to the West in English, he wrote in English the same year that Śrīla Prabhupada appeared. Is that 1896? I think. That book, it's called Śrī Chaitanya, His Life and Precepts, right? And so the first part of the book is about, just the story of Mahaprabhu's life. And the second part of the book is the Dashmula Tattva in English. This is the way that Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura wanted Mahaprabhu to be presented to the world. This is the way that he did it himself in English, was first telling about who Śrī Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, and then his teachings, the Dashmula Tattva. At some point, I really want to go through the verses. Well, actually, I have to prepare the verses of Dashmula Tattva for the Gaudiya Giti Gucha. We're going to include it in the Gaudiya Giti Gucha, all the verses that he wrote. There's that one verse, Amnaya Praha Tattva Harim Iha Paramam Sarva Shaktim Rasabdim, that verse that gives an outline of the whole Dashmula. And then he wrote a separate verse on each one of these Dashmula Tattvas. And so I need to prepare that for the songbook. And maybe I can do an online thing. Like once I've gone through the verse and I understand it somewhat, then I can go through it here. And for anybody who wants to try to memorize them, then yeah, then it's a good way to come to this level of Niścaya, being so clear, having firm resolve. Yeah. All right. Dandavat pranams. Haribol. Thank you so much for joining.